one of these games has resulted in bans going over towards the Nocturne, towards the Karma, things that so far are actually slipping straight on through. Will be very interesting to see. If ThunderTalk do not ban away the Nocturne in this situation, they will be hoping and praying to be able to grab that one for themselves, although obviously LGD could potentially also grab this one up. Otherwise, in terms of high priority jungle picks, we're beginning to really run out of them. Something we haven't seen so far is going to be the Pantheon Nocturne as a potential look. Yeah, the Nocturne, if it goes through, which so far looks so good.
Like, and it's an odd place to be, because I kind of hate Nocturne for Junhao, but Nocturne is one of the better junglers left up. We, like you say, the Pantheon, definitely something to think about as well for ThunderTalk, and now one of their only options is they actually choose to ban Nocturne.
Yeah, not majorly surprised right there. Like you said, I don't think it's a particularly good pickup for Junhao in general, so it makes sense to them to just not worry about it. The Renekton now going to be picked up in this game as the Na's gone away. There's no real reasons not to just be slamming this one through early on. And Burdol, he just needs himself a bit of a redemption game. As much as I was excited to see him on the Olaf, wasn't really able to pay it on through. And now ThunderTalk, what do you do for your jungler? As we've been talking about, very few of his actual pickups still remaining. Maybe it's a Neferi game. Maybe you get super aggressive and just try to rip through your opponents on the Neferi.
You know the nice thing about Renekton? No skill shots.
True. Can't be missing them. Fling yourself at your opponents instead.
Exactly. Ezreal on the other side of that, a lot of skill shots, but ones that On has been very consistent about landing. His Ezreal quite good, in my personal opinion, but I haven't really come out of this series, out of any of the games this series, going, well, On was the issue. On's been pretty chill. He hasn't done a lot wrong. He hasn't had a lot of opportunity to do a huge amount of things right, but that's all right. That's all good.
Yeah, indeed. In these games, at least, he's not been dragging his team down, and if they are able to put some extra focus on into him, he could well even be a boon for the team. On the Ezreal, you don't have to worry about him so much in the early game, and then you can allow him just scale up. Once you get that first item completed, that's where the Ezreal really starts coming online, but things will just keep getting stronger and stronger. The response, though, from the Ezreal Bard is just going to be the Yanara and the Lulu, and this is a far more late-game focused composition than we've really been seeing out of LGD so far. At the same time, though, between the Yanara and the Lulu, you can play a little bit earlier on if you want to go get involved in the bottom lane. You just kind of have to bring some jungle intervention with you.
Nice thing is that up against an Ezreal Bard, you also don't have to worry about being under a huge amount of pressure while you're scaling up. Yanara Lulu should just be able to chill and leave Yanara to farm up against Ezreal, because it's not that threatening. The top lane seems to be where all the focus is, and a Jax picked up into Renekton does nothing to change that notion. We are going to be fighting in top side, and I'd expect the junglers to join, as neither jungler has picked someone yet. As we head into the second round of bans, expect that pool to be pinched.
And very much so, although at the same time, do you really want to not take away a couple more potential pickups from Tangyuan, who's had himself still a very good overall series? Wasn't quite able to perform in the previous game, but there was really nothing happening for the squad whatsoever in those, and was able to grab MVPs in the previous two. Indeed, they are going to take the Yone away. I wonder if you want to continue squeezing out onto Tangyuan's champion pool, because he's still got plenty of pickups that he's very happy to take. The Akali kind of sixth chief among them for me, for things that love going in very aggressively. At the same time, with the Renekton, with the Yanara, I think a more standard control mage could be quite a nice look. Something like the Syndra could work well.
In terms of junglers, I'm still thinking... That's like what's taking up 99% of my space is actually how far down do we have to go to get to Lilia is a big question for me. Poppy, also an option, because I'm thinking about hard CC for both of these teams. ThunderTalk have Tempered Fate to engage, and of course you can bring Keshi in for it, but I'd love to see something a little bit more of a snap engage out of both ThunderTalk and LGD, who currently have nothing.
Yeah, I mean, both teams have got themselves a couple of their pieces set up, but nothing really to hit those home runs through for them. Really going to need some level of heavy aggression coming out from the jungle in both instances, and that's your heavy aggression, as we were talking about, the Neferi kind of remaining as that last very in-your-face kind of champion. There's no way there's no, unless you want us to go to a game number 5, there's no way you're going towards the Kha'Zix right here. I think the Pantheon makes a heck of a lot more sense in this situation. It, again, gives you that extra level of survivability as the Pantheon does. It's nowhere near as high priority as it has been recently, though. And I do think maybe a tank could be in a better situation. The Mundo, also something you could go to, but it is going to be the Maokai locked in right here for LGD. I like that way more than that little Kha'Zix hover that we saw.
It's a big source of engage, like you talk about Kha'Zix, maybe a little bit troll. Akali, not though. Locked in the mid lane. Akali into the composition of ThunderTalk should have a pretty good time as well. Depends what happens in this mid lane though. ThunderTalk can change that. And Galio would.
Yeah, the Galio would sort of just neutralize a lot of what the Akali wants to do in lane, but I don't even know that I necessarily mind that too much. It's about what you can do outside of the lanes that's going to be more important. The Galio can also hurt in that instance, obviously, when you have yourself a Hero's Entrance just bringing you in elsewhere. And so looking at these compositions overall, for ThunderTalk, they've got a lot of counters into what LGD were able to pick up for themselves, but their composition overall is quite disparate in its parts. It's got pieces that want to be poking, pieces that want to be going and jumping straight in. It's got some tankiness as well, so you're trying to play around a lot of different potential avenues. The early game, going to be very important to see just how much Heru and Feather and Junhao are locked down into individual spaces, or are actually able to join up together and go get involved elsewhere. For LGD, I really like this composition. I think if you're able to get through this early game relatively unscathed and be in a little bit of a freer position, which it looks like you might be, as we are seeing the flip around right here, putting Burdol onto the Akali instead. I really like this. As you said, the Akali kind of gets shut down a bit by the Galio. Well, just don't play into the Galio then.
Playing into the Jax instead. That's a big swap up for the side of LGD. I don't actually know how this is going to play out. I will say, Burdol has looked really good in the series when he is set up for success. Tangyuan has looked significantly better, but now having changed up the position to be a Renekton in the mid lane up against Galio, I can't say that I've seen that matchup too much, or that Tangyuan will have seen the matchup too much.
You have to imagine this is going to be a little bit of a rarer look overall, and hey, we've seen that Tangyuan is more than happy to move around onto a bunch of different champions, so why not move it around once again onto the Renekton? What I'm more excited about is the fact that Burdol is now unlocked. He needed a bit of redemption after what happened in the previous game on the Olaf. Give him the Akali, see what he can cook.
I've got bad news for you though. Akali does have a skill shot, and
that's true.
That was the big issue for us, I think. Yeah.
Yes. Although Tangyuan no skill shots just run at your opponents, I think this could work out quite well.
That's true. That's true. It's like budget Yone.
Renekton is budget Yone?
Yeah, not Yasuo.
Okay. I like it. I like it.
You know, they didn't want him to get Yone, but they couldn't stop him. Burdol in his matchup up against the Jax should have an alright time, but unfortunately he's missing a few minions early on as Jax's early power just that little bit better, more traditional top laner to make sure that ThunderTalk have the better end of this. Bot lane already a bloodbath as we're trading cooldowns back and forth, but as expected. I am noticing Tangyuan jumping into the Raptors early on, though, and I like that Renekton's going to be able to go for that kind of play, just going, hey, are your Raptors up? Let me steal those for a second.
Yeah, I really like just as much aggression as you can put down early on because you're looking to match into ThunderTalk. ThunderTalk have been able to get Junhao an aggressive early game champion in the Naafiri, and the Naafiri's in a really interesting spot at the moment. If you fall any far behind, there is nothing to do, but if you get an early kill as Junhao is trying to get right here, you are miserable to try to play into.
Flash forward from Feather actually burns Shaoye's, which makes for a delicious looking counter gank. Or
Absolutely.
regank.
Yeah, if you can regank right here onto this bot lane and kill Shaoye, putting him behind is going to be so nice. This is a ThunderTalk squad that really spikes on those 2 item breakpoints. Things are going to take a lot longer for LGD to really get going. So putting them further behind, making it even further out of reach for LGD to hit the points at which their champions are really going to be able to do the damage is going to be critical for ThunderTalk if they want to send us to a game number 5.
Now we've bounced around the map a lot in terms of who's going to come out on top, exactly where the action has been. We saw some towards the top lane. Raptors steal as a potential in mid lane. Bot lane fought each other a bunch. But everybody's got to remember that this game comes down to Junhao. It comes down to him compared to Heng, who is coming out on top in the early stages of the jungle. And for Junhao, a big part of it has been, is he willing to get active in the early game? So far, the answer has been no. He's been chilling out, clearing his jungle, which at level 3 is fine. But as we get later into this game, keep your eyes on Junhao, because he is the temperature check for ThunderTalk.
With that little bit of a gank he looked at towards the bottom side of the map, it does blow a couple of flashes, but also was allowing Heng to just get a little bit of a quicker clear off. He's already on his reset and heading back out onto the map, looking to keep things rolling as well. And like you said, it is really just going to be on Junhao, what he can do, where he's going to be able to find things. Level 6 going to be critical as well to really help you unleash this dog onto the opponents. The LGD, once the level 6 come through, that's a little bit of extra level of survivability for them, but not necessarily some extra kill threat that you're really trying to play around.
Well, top lane is getting pretty low, and Heng's in the area, and Junhao is not. Keshi
not again.
Burns the leap strike on Burdol, but actually is able to back away enough that Heng decides this is not a play anymore. I believe Heng was spotted during this as well, so Junhao, though he beyond vision, gets to move right onto the wolves.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter because you've not really got any way to step up and try to compete with Mr. Fury. You've got the bot lane push coming on through. Mid lane is getting pushed in your opponent's favor. And now the collapse is at least going to be attempted right here out of LGD.
YCX starts things off well. Junhao is half HP before finally getting Feather over to him to make sure that it's safe. Shaoye does almost die, but ThunderTalk were looking more for the escape than they were for the AD carry.
I mean, yeah, the dogs at this point in the game do a pretty ridiculous amount of damage, and it just doesn't stop as this Neferi carries on through the game. The early game going to be particularly powerful, however, as the first Drake is going to be joining us on the Rift as well. It will just be a Chemtech Drake, so nothing too exciting for either of the teams to be looking towards as much as possible. And what you just want to be doing as Heng right here is allowing this early game to carry on as chill as possible, wanting to keep farming up as much as you can. Once you get to these mid to late game skirmishes, that's where you're going to be much more powerful. The big team fights as well. If you're able to land some multi-man lockups during the team fights and unlock Burdol to just do his thing, this game should be pretty okay for LGD.
Junhao and Heng again on opposite sides of the rift as level 6s start getting hit. Burdol actually has Keshi in kill range. This could be his big comeback game, but is going to use the second channel of the perfect execution to get away from Keshi, lest that be turned on him. Top lane, the place to be right now, and Junhao is in position if he wants to try and kill Burdol, but it's tough.
It is, especially with the Nakali having quite so much mobility coming through. Over on the other side of the map, Heng going to start up this Drake and gets it pretty dang low. Feather is going to see this happening, but without the Neferi in the area. This one's going to be picked up nice and easily right here by LGD. And they continue their early concentration on these Drakes, on these grubs, as many of these early objectives as possible have been going in the favor of LGD. And they're very good at playing around the side of the map. They have the most power. Right now, they've had a couple of moments of pushing the bot lane, using that to great effect.
Junglers may be trading red buffs as well. Junhao picking up Heng's at the moment, and Junhao's own is about to spawn, but Heng is only going to go for the Raptors and then get out. Actually, ping from LGD, or rather from ThunderTalk, wondering whether that was being taken, but Junhao gets spotted on the way out and actually finds Heng in his own jungle. Reminder that we've got level 6s on board for everyone but the bot lane of LGD right now.
And this is some pretty big breakpoints right here for ThunderTalk. They really love these level 6s coming on through. This is the point in which Keshi and Heru can really go try to fight, move around the map, and get involved as much as possible. Arn as well gives him so much extra power in both the skirmishes and the longer, more extended team fights. So ThunderTalk, they now want to start getting things going. They would like to see where they can start up as many players as possible to really use their composition as it's beginning to come online.
Could it be Grubs? 30
It
seconds?
could well be the Grubs. I mean, LGD have put a lot of focus onto the Grubs in a lot of situations. So if you want to find them in a pick, if you want to find a skirmish to play into, I think the Grubs is a very good bet.
We'll see where LGD choose to position their resources at the moment. Right now, their bot lane has not been having the best time, as you mentioned, more of a scaling lane than anything. Yunara Lulu is going to be able to do some crazy work later on, but as it is, Ezreal and Bard. Oh, I can't believe I get to use this. Ezreal and Bard range mog them.
I mean, yeah, I guess they do in this situation, and you can see it right here. Shaoye down to about half HP, being pushed underneath this tower. I'm not really opening them up to being able to move out, to potentially go roam up towards the top side of the map to help out. Instead, it looks like it's just going to be some sort of 3v3 up on the top lane. And with a little bit of push established by Burdol, he's going to roam down and at least make sure nobody's able to collapse immediately upon Heng.
Yeah, I mean, big benefit to LGD is that both their solo laners, as we talked about in game number 2, are able to push in and roam early. So their early action just makes Heng's life so much easier, even if he is on the Maokai into an Fury matchup. Shaoye not having the easiest time, but he's not dead. And that counts for something.
Exactly, and especially with these tricky little lane swaps coming on through that have given you such better matchups on the top side of the map, it now doesn't matter so much that the bot line is getting pushed in, because you've got somewhere else to be able to play around, as Heng actually steals away a couple of those chickens.
Will this be punished? Feather's roamed over, but Tangyuan wants the kill, forcing a flash out of Junhao. It's Feather that goes on a magical journey. No stun to come through afterwards, but Feather is still alive. In comes the hero's entrance, and it is a gorgeous one, letting Junhao pick up first blood, and the rest of ThunderTalk are not going to look for anything else, even after Tempered Fate connects.
Over aggressive right there. I'm not really sure why Heng decided to go all the way through that magical journey. I'm not sure that he even necessarily wanted to. Might have been a little bit of a misclick, thinking he had enough damage to lay down, but Junhao was waiting there and unleashes the dogs, picking himself up the first kill of the game, and a small gold lead going over to ThunderTalk.
That's a big way for it to happen as well, because it's Junhao that gets the kill. The temp check for ThunderTalk in a situation where they must reverse sweep LGD. Junhao isn't running hot yet, but he's starting to get warm and picking up the first item as well. First item completion on the Rift. So longing to Junhao. With a minute left on Dragon, there's still time for everyone else to grab some of their own, but he is the player to watch, and on Fury can blow up a team fight if he's set up for success.
And he's just got so much survivability as well. The fact that you can just say nope to taking a lot of damage and eviscerate your way out of a lot of situations makes it so tricky to try to play into an Fury that has gotten ahead. It's all balanced by being a very bad champion from behind, not the sort of thing you want to be playing in a pro play situation whatsoever. And so LGD, they really need to focus on punishing Junhao, making sure they close ranks, don't allow him to get any more early kills through, and then see if he overextends a little bit and try to take him down. Like I said, still a little while until we've got a lot of the next big objectives coming up. 20 seconds, though, until the next Drake will be spawning.
With that, we've already got Heng around bot side, clearing out his blue buff right now, and Junhao is just about finishing up top side, starting to clear it down. We've got a bit of a fight in top, while Burdol is taking a beating from Keshi, but all things have been pretty even so far. We swapped the Akali out of the Galio matchup, but it's not because she hard wins the Jax matchup. It's just because Galio is so miserable.
Yeah, the Galio matchup really does just stop everything that the Akali is looking to do. You can still potentially find roams, but most of the time, Galio is just then going to follow you around with that hero's entrance. A lot of pings going on towards the bottom side of the map right now. LGD and ThunderTalk alike potentially looking for a play. LGD at least going to start themselves up the second Drake of the game.
It looks like they should get it as well. Hero's entrance, 10 seconds off cooldown. But Heru's in the area and looking at this. No teleports for the top laners on either side, but it's a nice true shot barrage to start things off with a bit of damage for ThunderTalk. Ultimately, LGD have too much control over the river, take the dragon, and now get to walk their bot lane down in safety.
Oh, I thought that was going to be a quick thing. I think Heng's able to just walk this one away. The wild growth just giving him that little bit of extra survivability right there, and the health bars blinking at this point for a few of the ThunderTalk members. You can see once again Heru trying to roam his way down to see if he was needed. It's going to give Tangyuan a little bit of alone time with this tower in the mid lane to pick up a couple of plates, and now actually to try to cut off Heru's entrance.
Of all the things that have happened in this game, I can say for sure, Tangyuan's been having fun. Connected into Galio matchup has gone pretty well for him, although all that could change with a little bit too much turret intervention. Dominus gets popped, and Heru, with a flash away, manages to survive. Junhao picks up his red and now gets to move into the mid lane. Maybe trying to punish an overextended Tangyuan, but he's playing pretty safe. And on the Renekton has looked quite good so far, if not game-winningly so. Keshi perhaps getting caught, but no, sidesteps the Nature's Grasp and gets out alive.
And it's possible right here that Tangyuan could be in a good spot to carry the team, but needs to be careful at least for a little bit with no ulti. YCX should just be able to blast cone himself away, and indeed does. We go back to the general farming that we were seeing before. Every single time that the pace of this game slows down a little bit, that is benefiting an LGD that want to get later and later into the game. That's why these first two Drakes, as you highlighted, is so important, because it means you can now afford to give up the next couple if you don't think you really need them, and start competing again in 3 Drakes time when you're looking to get yourself on Soul Point, and then hopefully eventually Soul.
Speaking of Soul, I mean, Cloud, always good, but feeling particularly good for the side of ThunderTalk if they are able to get there. The issue being that they've got such a long way to go. That LGD are the more likely beneficiaries. With a few minutes left on that, but only a minute left on Rift Herald spawn, it's likely that we see LGD try and leverage their relative strength again if they're able to lay down some vision in the top side of the map. Notably right now, there is none.
No, absolutely none. It's real dark up in the top side for the minute, and with Rift Herald spawning in 20 seconds time, that's something they are going to have to rectify very quickly. Instead, kind of just getting pushed underneath this mid lane. Now Shaoye opens up.
He's feeling himself right now, but Shaoye is in one-shot territory for Junhao as he steps 1 foot out of line and gets shut down. Neferi's damage ridiculous even at this point in the game. And that opens up a really nice Rift Herald timing for ThunderTalk instead.
Psychoside, slight close sword in inventory, and Junhao just able to rip through people. You said the barometer for how good it was that ThunderTalk are going to be able to do is Junhao ahead. Well, so far, so good. He is indeed. Although, LGD potentially trying to look to push them away from this Herald.
With an 80 carry down, they're trying to do this. Junhao, really slippery, doesn't pick up the eye, but does grab the Rift Herald. With LGD looking for a play, they'd like to get back in the pit, but Tangyuan is not letting them have it.
And that's at least something right here out of LGD, not allowing this eye to go on over, stopping what could have been a pretty nasty push, and it does despawn, so nobody's going to be able to pick up that prize. Instead, should just be back to these laning phases. We've still got 4 minutes until the next Drake is going to spawn. And I mean, if you're a ThunderTalk fan and you're hoping for a game number 5 right here, things are looking pretty good.
Yeah, I am absolutely... I want to say happy that I never gave up faith, but I can't lie to you. Faith is a scale, and mine was getting pretty low.
Yes, yes. The first 2 games were so utterly dominant here.
Keshi under turret kills Tangyuan?
Okay.
It's we're going to game 5, bro. There's no way.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to be hitting a game number 5 right here, which really we should have predicted between these 2 teams. There was no way it was going to be easy for either one of them, as ThunderTalk just suddenly woke up. Clearly the game's just started a little bit too early for them, and they hadn't quite been able to get their snacks in and, you know, feel good about the rest of their day.
As it is, Tangyuan's down 0-1, Heng's down 0-1, Shaoye's down 0-1. In critical lanes, we are missing the ability to have a big impact for LGD. Gold leads in almost all of those going to ThunderTalk right now, and even where technically Tangyuan has a lead, that is quickly going to evaporate against Heru, especially if we continue getting into situations like these. However, 2 dragons to the good, as you said, the scaling option there for LGD, but they must survive the onslaught that will be Junhao. Soul Point actually being given over to LGD without contest is very strange to see.
Instead, actually, the re-engage coming on through, and it looks like LGD think they can find a play. Tangyuan absorbing a lot of pressure here.
He's 1v4 until the rest of the team joins. Burdol finally taking to the front lines and assassinating Feather. This is exactly the kind of play that LGD need to get back into things, as Heru is going to go down to Tangyuan, and they get Soul Point. The Soul Point itself was concerning. 2 kills and Soul Point for LGD. Turns the game not on its head, but it turns mine on its side.
It turns it around, certainly. It begins to put you back into a better spot. The fact that Burdol as well might actually be able to save this tower from going down. Maybe not quite. These minions are doing a little bit more damage overall than he necessarily could stop. And yeah, you are going to lose this tower. So overall, the Gold League does continue to be quite far ahead here for the side of ThunderTalk. But have a look back at how this play starts, because the amount of time that Tangyuan is able to absorb right here is crazy, because he popped himself into the Dominus, and he's amongst 4 members of the team, flashing away, using all of his available tools to just keep them interested long enough for the LGD members to turn back around and help him pick up the rest of the kills.
Burdol is able to do what he is only going to do more of through this game as well. Sit in the back line in Shroud and make people's lives miserable. In that particular case, Feather didn't get to have the best time playing League of Legends, but that's okay. Akali's on your screen. Somebody's going to be suffering. You just have to hope it's not you, and On breathes a sigh of relief every time.
Yeah, absolutely. If you are going to be losing your support every single time, that's a worthwhile trade for ThunderTalk, as long as they are able to pick up a kill onto Burdol and make sure that he isn't able to style on them all the way through the back line. Got just under a minute until the next big thing is going to spawn. Baron in 30 seconds time. Both teams could go for this a little bit early, a little bit sneakily, as Tangyuan's kind of just getting run down right here. He is at least going to be able to get away, but that's pretty worrying that he takes that much damage there, whilst not even particularly engaging.
It was a misuse of cooldowns. You saw him burn the stun on Ward, and all of ThunderTalk were like, "Oh look, the big Renekton does look
Murder time." Yeah, very much so.
Not great,
some point,
but maybe he goes, "I won't burn my stun in their face anymore," and now we've just solved that problem.
Yeah, and he didn't use the ulti. He didn't have the flash to burn in that situation either. So really, no harm, no foul in the end. So we just wait a little bit for the Baron to spawn and see who's going to be brave enough to pull the trigger early on. So far we've seen LGD with a real penchant for just starting up the objectives and seeing what happens, oftentimes working quite well in their favour.
Yep, most of the time ThunderTalk really haven't even contested it. The single time that we saw the Rift Herald go down earlier, ThunderTalk backed away from it, didn't end up getting the eye for their trouble, and I mean, let's say objective play has not been ThunderTalk's strength in this game yet, but when you have such a strong jungler, you have to imagine that at some point you're contesting these objectives. You're not just looking for kills. You're not just trying to farm up and get even more of an advantage. Junhao has 2 items now. He's ahead of almost everyone else on the Rift, the exception being Keshi, who's actually right up there with him. Outside of that, I mean, it should be these 2 champions running the Rift.
Very much so, and instead it's kind of just a little bit of a situation. We haven't been able to really see quite as much aggression as he would have otherwise hoped, as again, Shaoye stepping up, feeling confident enough to keep trying for these plays. It works out for him when Junhao isn't in the area to turn around on top of him. 1 item now completed for Shaoye, down by almost 1,000 gold. And with on 2 items, he is just so far behind at this point. Now the Fiend Hunter bolts come in. Okay, this is a point at which you can begin thinking about fighting for Shaoye. You really need that 3rd item though. You really need that Trinity Force through to actually be able to unleash.
Absolutely. I agreed in terms of the power. I think that when we're on 2nd item for Shaoye, I could also see a world where LGD want to fight anyway. Your AD carry,
so.
yes,
Yeah,
could
they
get
love a
stronger,
fight
but
anyway.
LGD have been so willing to fight this game. And now it's ThunderTalk that want to engage. YCX splashes away. Heng got caught by the Tempered Fate, but nothing really came of it. While Shaoye pops the ult, LGD are split. Burdol's in the river, and the rest of LGD are in mid lane prison, with Shaoye stepping up to On for a little bit of damage, dealing some himself. Ultimately, nothing is going to come of it. A lot of ults burned, a lot of cooldowns looked for, but everybody's playing respectfully.
Yeah, and I mean, with 40 seconds until the Drake is going to spawn, isn't really that much of a big impact. Even if you do manage to pick yourself up a kill right there, you need a couple to be able to go turn around and grab the Baron for this to be massive. And whilst all of that is happening in the mid and bot side, it's just going to be the push through from Tangyuan, picking up that top lane tier 1 tower for his squad, and helping to even back the gold just a little bit.
With Burdol chilling up against Keshi right now. Both of them having a decent time just trading Waves back and forth, neither really able to kill the other for the moment. They teleport into the mid lane, just around the time the dragon spawns. You know ThunderTalk want this dragon, and of course, they would like so much more. With Heru here to make it happen as well. If ThunderTalk get into the river first, they should be able to pick up dragon, but they seem hesitant to do it. Hesitant to let LGD start the initiation onto them. Unfortunately, they're not able to start a fight of their own, so ThunderTalk are just going to start clicking the dragon, see if LGD are able to do anything about it, and it seems like LGD's read is we can't.
No, absolutely not. At the point at which Shaoye had to head back to base because he had had so much health chunked out of him, that was never going to work. And this is a really good show of what the problems are for LGD in this game. They have to snap engage so quickly, because if they wait too long, Junhao's going to do so much damage with the Pag, and all of the poke that can come through from Arn as well makes it so tricky to try to step up into a team fight you've been waiting around for a little while. Snap engage is only from LGD, otherwise things are not going to go their way.
Puts a lot of pressure on Heng to be the one to find those. On Maokai, he of course has the ability to. But as to whether he's actually able to find not just unengaged, but a good engage, can come down to, if ThunderTalk are playing properly, him using the flash to do it every time, which leaves you with one good fight, one good shot at a fight every 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah, that is just really not frequent enough, potentially, to be able to win this game. We'll see if they're going to be able to pull something a little bit back. As we continue with the posturing around the mid lane. Again, as the delays happen, LGD are happy. Temper Fate going to go wide.
This time it's Junhao, though, that engages onto Heng, and he is deep into the jungle, still doing a lot of damage as Heru shows up, and Keshi will join as well. Burdol's got technically a flank, but it's not quite juicy enough to find significant damage onto the members of ThunderTalk. And he'll have to back away into the mid lane. That is a flash burned defensively from Heng, as well as a wild growth, with a couple ultimates burned, most notably the Tempered Fate from Feather. Teams are trading pretty even.
Indeed they are. Like I said, ThunderTalk using actually quite a lot of their key ultimates, and LGD, they've got a few more available to them. The fact that they've still got Dominus means you can continue to step up, but they're quite a tanky team overall. They don't really even have a mid wave to be trying to play around either. Keshi getting stopped on his recall could potentially be big if you are looking to just keep the pressure up right here as LGD crack open this tower.
Yeah, it looks like it means mid lane turret. True Shot Barrage comes through, cutting the hair of a bunch of LGD members, but with Tangyuan on the front line and with Dominus popped, that will still not be enough to let him survive afterwards. A double kill goes to Junhao, and this Nefiri, already big, is now huge and turning onto the Baron.
Indeed, they're just going to turn around and pick up this big objective. Yes, you lose a mid lane tier 1 tower, but now with no jungle, with no mid lane, I don't really know what it is that LGD are going to do. They're at least going to step up, looking to potentially try to steal this one away. Keshi is going low.
Stepping up with a half-health AD carry. Burdol's in the pit, goes golden for now, and Shaoye is able to back away, actually taking almost down Keshi, but he's got an Fury all over him, finds the kill. The Baron has gone over to ThunderTalk, but the fight goes to LGD as they pick up 3 members of ThunderTalk and back away intact.
Oh, just not quite able to kill a couple of extra members. Shaoye running out of damage, and you highlighted it right. Did Shaoye want to fight on these 2 items? The answer, absolutely yes. The beginning of the power here for LGD showing on through. And this is the thing, right? As much as you can kill a lot of members for LGD, Shaoye is going to be this main carry as we get later on. And let's just keep our eyes on him and what he ends up doing throughout this fight, because I mean, it's not like ThunderTalk don't throw a lot at him. You can see the big engage, but Keshi's just not quite going to be able to land that counter-strike, and that really does not set this team fight up for success.
Oh, that wild growth is so beautiful. YCX playing his heart out to just keep his AD carry alive. Perfect timing to keep Shaoye with a sliver of HP at the end of all that.
And there we go, that is going to be the eye edge completed as well. That's those 3 items. Shaoye is now well and truly online. This is the point at which we want to see him getting aggressive. Now, does he have the rest of the team composition around him? Things stalling out a little bit. Now only 1.5 thousand gold. The advantage for ThunderTalk. They had that up near 4k not that long ago. And things, maybe just not slipping away from ThunderTalk, but they need to be cautious not to lose all of this early lead they've built for themselves.
A lot of this comes down to Junhao as not just the temp check for the team, but where the majority of their gold is, where the majority of their team fight potential is. No shade towards On. I mean, he's even right now, but even against a Yunara Lulu means you're losing. And
yes.
In terms of damage, Junhao is where it is at for ThunderTalk.
Very much so. If they're able to just keep using this Neferi as aggressively as possible, things are likely to continue going well, but as we're allowing other members of LGD to begin opening up, things are going to get scarier and scarier for them. Carly Jacks both in the top side of the map, as we can see some heavy fighting around this mid lane tier 1 tower. No other real push coming on through, and instead ThunderTalk going to peel back and potentially look at the Drake.
Now starts getting fancy with Tangyuan, who does have Dominus available, is going to pop it to survive in the face of all this damage from Neferi. Lives for a long time, but ultimately falls. And Shaoye, dealing damage from the backline, has a lot of it going into Heru right now. Gets stunned by Feather as a teleport. Rockets Burdol into the back line. Looks for On. Finds the Shuriken flip onto him. And finds the kill onto On. Burdol has gotten away, and he goes back in for a double kill on Feather. Now in the 1v1 against Junhao. Should not be able to survive. But Junhao's not quite able to kill him either, and Burdol seems to be getting away for now. LGD and ThunderTalk going pretty even. Junhao flashes forward to shut that down, and it's a plus 420 going over to him. Junhao turns right onto the dragon, and is going to grab the second one for ThunderTalk off the back of a sketchy team fight win.
I mean, Heng is in the area, but with Keshi playing body blocker, there's no way they're going to be able to get in and grab themselves this Cloud Drake. But you can see what is happening to this early game composition from ThunderTalk as we get later and later in. LGD are beginning to get online. Shaoye dealing some big damage. Once again, Burdol being able to find a little bit of backline access. If ThunderTalk don't find ways to continue accelerating the pace of this game, they are going to get outscaled, and it is creeping up faster than you would think.
Good eye from Feather and Junhao to go. Tangyuan is just separated enough from the rest of the team that we have some form of engage here. Junhao does a lot of damage, and from then...
Oh, picture in picture.
Oh, we're fighting.
Ooh, look at the damage that Shaoye does. Holy. I mean, again, he's Transcend Self, so he's not going to be quite as strong if another fight breaks out in the next couple of seconds, but cooldown at this point is not that long, and we'll see. Oh, is he caught?
Steps a little too far forward to keep the tower
He's
safe.
Dead.
Gets blown up by Keshi. That's going to cost LGD a lot, least of which is their jungler.
Yeah, the fact that you lose two quick members right here, really not ideal. Still, 1 minute 30 seconds until the Baron is going to spawn, so it's not going to cost you that objective. 4 minutes until the next Drake as well. Instead, it's just going to be these towers as the main focus. With Junhao pushing through the top lane, the 4-man push in the mid lane right now. So many structures are going to fall, and the map just keeps getting smaller and smaller right here for LGD.
ThunderTalk get to back away into the top side of the jungle for LGD. Giving themselves an even bigger advantage. We really can't, like, even without Baron, that team fight was disastrous because it has cost you so much standing gold that ThunderTalk now have what you could consider in a clean game a game-winning advantage. They're plus 5,000 gold.
Yeah, this should be enough for them to be able to win this game now. As we've been saying, right, the longer and longer we get into this game, the more I am dubious of that, the more I think a couple of cracked plays out of Shaoye could be enough for LGD to be able to secure that dance with AL in the next round and knock ThunderTalk out of the playoffs. But that's not guaranteed. ThunderTalk still are fighting back. They still have some incredible power on the likes of Junhao and Keshi and Arn. They are not in a weak position whatsoever. They just need to continue executing cleanly. Now, I know that's been a lot to ask of ThunderTalk recently, but some clean execution is all they need.
On starts to move forward, and when On's doing that, you know that they've got a good team fight brewing. Wild Growth gets used by YCX to fend off Keshi. With Burdol in the backline, maybe there's a way for LGD to win this fight as he manages to take out On. The assassinations come through. Now Shaoye gets to join him in the front line, try to take out Junhao, but he steps too far forward. There's no Wild Growth to save Shaoye, and he's going to go down. Heru picks up the kill. Junhao, still firing in damage from the sides, is doing a lot over the course of this team fight with Burdol in the backline, picking picking up another one. Junhao
What a
still
mess.
gets pushed out. Burdol flashes on top of him, but gets shut down by the dogs. While Heng and Tangyuan take out yet another member of ThunderTalk. It'll be Heru left standing with Junhao joining him, and somehow it's a messy fight, but ThunderTalk are winning it. It's a 1v1 between Tangyuan and Junhao, and Junhao is the last man standing, completing the ace for ThunderTalk.
There we go, but what a mess of a team fight, and these fights are getting better and better and better for LGD. Every single one that we see. Junhao's not going to be able to go grab himself the Baron by himself. Instead, just going to push through the mid lane, potentially try to pick himself up a Drake, or just take away a couple remaining camps. A pretty lonely dog right here on the map. And the initial engage is a little bit overzealous, and YCX, like I said, Wild Growth to be able to push Keshi back is the correct decision, but you're now missing a critical ulti for the coming team fight. The big problem is right here. This is nice out of Burdol. This is bad out of Shaoye. He should not be taking that portal, and then beyond that, he needs to not dash that. That little bit of dash forwards right there puts him in such a bad position. And then watch what is happening right here with Keshi and that counter-strike. I mean, this is a disgusting ability into this kind of composition. He survives for so much longer than he has any right to.
Finally gets picked up by Burdol, and then it was Junhao surviving these crazy 1v1s basically till the end of the fight. There was a lot of work being done by Tangyuan and Heng, especially to take out Feather and ultimately take out Heru, but Junhao is the raid boss, and I don't mean that in the way that everybody's throwing their cooldowns at him. He's actually doing a great job of staying out of people's cooldowns, and that's the problem.
Yeah, very much so. And we saw during the picture-in-picture as well, ThunderTalk were able to grab themselves that Baron, put themselves into a slightly better fight. Yeah, I mean, look at the damage that you're able to do as Burdol, but it's not really good enough out of Shaoye. He should be unleashing at this point. He is well and truly online. 4 items, including an LDR, completed. This is the time when you need to be able to go. You need to pay your team back for all of the time they've spent trying to get you into a strong spot, and instead it's going to be these Baron empowered cannon minions knocking on the door.
Shaoye, no flash, no barrier. Junhao half health despite having flash available. Is going to have to get away. Shaoye, certainly no slouch in the damage department, despite the misposition from earlier. If he gets the chance, he can blow people up, and those people include the 7-1 Junhao.
Still pinned into the base are LGD, and they're not going to be able to step up. They're going to lose their 3rd Cloud Drake in a row, desperately trying to get out of the pit. Keshi might have over-aggressed right here, has the hero's entrance. That is going to be blown.
Saves him, gets them a tower, and Keshi gets to look for the re-engage. Still pretty low HP, but ThunderTalk keeping themselves in the driver's seat, especially with the amount of poke that they're able to throw out. You talked about it earlier. Even without Junhao here, An is still able to do an incredible amount, and with Junhao, you can't just sit there and wait for a fight to happen. You got to be starting one like this.
Why is he there? What are we doing? Why are we here?
You know what? He's going to be asking himself that. Giving up that kill.
There's no
Not
way. Oh my
the
god,
worst
YCX flashing.
thing,
Hello?
But it's quite bad.
I mean, they're now going to try to dive right here onto Feather. You can see Heru sprinting over, but he doesn't have the ulti available. That's just going to be the bot lane dead right here. Tangyuan should be easily able to walk this one away. Keshi gets a tower in the mid lane, but, I mean, you've lost your bot lane now. This is the moment for LGD to get back into this game.
But the issue is, I mean, yes, they're incredibly strong on the map, individually. We've got 3 minutes on both objectives.
Yeah.
You kill both bot laners, and what do? I see hope. I see a lot that can go right for LGD, but it's just not the right moment to bring it together.
No, and especially not into these Baron-empowered minions. They just wouldn't have the push even to take the tower in front of Heru, one of the weaker overall members of the squad, and just caught on a recall. Does he cancel his own recall?
Yes. Oh.
Okay, Flash Smite is certainly one way to do it, and the fact that there are so many flashes blown to pick up these 2 kills, we'll see if that ends up costing some of the members of LGD, because that's YCX using his, that's Heng using his, that's a couple of big flashes that you would have needed for engages or for just that extra survivability.
I remember that we talked about Heng blowing his flash is the 4-minute timer on which LGD are able to engage. It means around this next dragon, around the soul, mind you, that will be this next dragon, Heng should be able to engage for his team one more time reliably. The important thing here is that Tangyuan and Shaoye also have theirs.
Indeed. So we do potentially have the battle lines drawn and 5 items now completed right here for Shaoye. He is online. He is ready to go. This is the moment. If Shaoye is ever going to be able to carry a game, it has to be here and now.
Can't afford to lose his top laner before that. Burdol just takes a boatload of AoE damage. It's okay. It's okay. I mean, it's bad. But still a minute and a half left till Baron.
Yes,
exactly.
Not the worst timing right here. Could definitely be worse, but things are still not going to be good because Burdol's threat onto these backlines was exactly what was keeping ThunderTalk from feeling confident enough to just step right up. Now they're going to lose out onto 2 inhibitors right before the Barons and the Drake spawn.
Shaoye steps up to them. Important mid lane inhibitor hasn't actually gone down yet. It is bot lane that falls. Mid lane still up as Heru's trying to finish that off with a pseudo team fight happening on the side. Hibs down just now, and LGD don't lose anyone else. 1 minute left on Baron. 1 minute 30 on the Dragon. And ThunderTalk, having gotten 2 inhibitors, are certainly going to have a pretty notable advantage when it comes to their access to these objectives.
Oh yeah, stepping out of the base at this point for LGD is going to be incredibly tricky. Still, it's not actually the end of the world as long as you can get the push going like they are right now. I like the decision here out of ThunderTalk though to just head towards the top side of the map, not worry about it and what the push is happening on the bottom side of the map. They want the Baron because the Baron is how they end. Picking up the Cloud Soul would be nice, and I do think they're going to try to play around it, but the Baron is far more important than anything else.
The issue for LGD is that with both inhibitors down, if you lose a fight, even if you lose 2 members, you lose the game. Tangyuan unspotted on this flank, I think finally got pinged out, but they want to start a fight. Unfortunately, the rest of ThunderTalk play with enough respect that he's not able to make it happen. Both Slice and Dice expended. Heng doesn't have Flash up yet to actually start an engagement on, I want to say, like a flash. He can't immediately
Shaoye
begin this. Shaoye going low is bad. Him getting stunned is absolutely worse. Tempered Fate connects, but not onto Shaoye, onto Tangyuan and Heng, who should be able to survive it. Tangyuan's going to pop Dominus, but Shaoye is doing absolutely 0 damage during this, having to run all the way away from LGD, who pick up a double kill into the front lines. We're going to send Junhao, and the rest of ThunderTalk are rocketing forward. They want to pick up this fight. They want to pick up this win. ThunderTalk may very well be grabbing this game off of a manufactured fight in the mid lane. Heru's going to go golden. Burdol, the only threat on the back line, is being pushed back and further away from his team, from his nexus. Unfortunately for him, he's being pushed a lot closer to a game number 5 as ThunderTalk walk their way down the mid lane.
It's going to be a 40-minute banger right here as ThunderTalk finally overcome the damage of Shaoye and find themselves a much-needed team fight in the mid lane. They're going to knock down the Nexus towers, and they are going to send us to Silver Scrapes.
The reverse sweep has been begun. It is well and truly revved for ThunderTalk with 1 game left to do it. This is scary for LGD, for ThunderTalk. I don't know who's going to come out on top, and the scary thing is that they don't either. But ThunderTalk, they are really picking up a lot of momentum in the back half of this series, and LGD had a really good game. They had something to work with here.
Yeah.
Like sand through their fingers.
Yeah, I mean, Shaoye got online. He was in a good spot to be able to carry the team, but they just were never able to find those good team fights. The front line just was not tanky enough, and I mean, we can already book it right now. That was absolutely an MVP performance out of Junhao. He was miserable to play into on this Neferi. God, I hate watching this champion play. It's infuriating. Does so much damage, the burn over time, and the fact that when you think you've got it caught, nope, just says no, says you're not allowed to play video game anymore and jumps away from you. Horrible champion, terrible, hate it, don't like watching it. Glad that's at least done and we don't have to see it in game number 5.
I was gonna say, good news for you, Bloxxer. Fearless Draft exists.
Yes.
And that particular problem is going to leave us going into the 5th game. Unfortunately enough for LGD, they won't have to deal with it either, as I'm sure it was extraordinarily frustrating to have Junhao surviving on the edge of all these fights, especially when LGD were almost turning them.
Yeah, very much so. An LGD that looked like they were going to be able to get back into that game multiple times and just don't quite make it work. Burdol had some massive moments right there, but it felt like Heng, Tangyuan, and YCX just weren't able to play their game out well enough. And again, Shaoye, I think he had to carry that game for them. He had to have it. You have been put in a good spot in the end, but just they were never able to play it. They bought themselves some great time as well by getting the first 3 Drakes. That's why this game ended up going so long, because you were just waiting on the soul, on being able to pick yourself up, everything that you needed to be able to find that full victory, and it just didn't end up happening for them. Really, with all of the momentum now in the favor of ThunderTalk, this game number 5 could be really close.
I expect it to be. I mean, if it's a stomp one way, I'll take it, but given how game 4 went, given how it was right on the wire up until the very end, that's what I'm expecting from Game 5 as well. But a lot of that is going to come down to draft again, especially as we have increasingly narrow champion pools with 2 teams that have played their entire split in Nirvana so far. So it's not like they've even gotten that much experience in best of 5s or even over the course of multiple series to have a bunch of different champions and compositions that they are comfortable running. They're professional players. They're gonna do their darndest. They're doing their darndest right now. But these compositions, and thus the plays that are made on them, can become increasingly odd as this series goes on.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, once we get into game number 5s of these best of 5 Fearless series, the drafts get pretty weird. We are cutting out the majority of the best champions available. There's a couple that have been hitting the ban phase time and time again, right? Your Nocturnes, your Orianas, your Seraphines. We'll see if any of those end up slipping through the cracks. If they don't, you really are beginning to scrape the bottom of the barrel, and that can lead to some very fun games. I wonder if LGD are going to go back to that Draven that they had in game number 5 in that Weibo series to try to just pull something out in the bottom lane and really make it work for them in a way that they just haven't shown us throughout the earlier stages of this series.
I hope that Shaoye's confidence is okay, because he had a really good game. I mean, yeah, he was doing a lot of heavy lifting there. So was Burdol. Heng and Tangyuan did a pretty decent job. YCX, the important counterpart, but unfortunately just not quite enough. And I am hoping that his confidence didn't take a hit, because I would also like to see the Draven on the other side of this. Notably, running a little low on champions as well. He's still got Jhin, he's still got Ashe, and he's still got Sivir. All 3 of those, wouldn't be too surprised to see him pull them out, though some riskier than others, especially in the style of LGD so far.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the entire game series that we've had so far, right? LGD, when they get themselves a good early lead, they hang on to it for dear life, and they're able to keep making it work. When ThunderTalk get a good early lead, they hang on for it for dear life and don't seem to let it go. The early game has been incredibly important, and the real swim factor for me has been the fact that Junhao has just woken up. He's been getting himself a ton of early leads. Clearly needed some of those top tier champions in the jungle pool to be taken away to really be able to unlock, and now that he's here to play, it feels like Heng doesn't have that same level of confidence. We were seeing him in the first game invading constantly, in the second game ganking constantly to make things happen. So far, he's been kind of quiet in games 3 and 4.
Yeah, the Maokai really not feeling like a Heng champion, if I'm honest. It was an interesting pivot from LGD, especially given where we are, the fact that it was game 4, the fact that there are so few champions available. You need a jungler that does something.
Yeah.
But Maokai, for him, just not feeling like the champion that lets him have the same level of aggression as we've seen from him before either. I would really love to see a Pantheon from Heng. That's a champion that has been basically left alone throughout this entire series, but can do a whole lot of damage. And I don't just mean actual physical damage. I mean, in the early game, he can mess up a team.
Yeah, really can. And in a situation where you're able to grab this champion early on and just make it work alongside maybe some of the more roaming orientated picks, right? As much as we've had the Rise coming through already, I think we saw it. It was, it'd been 16 years ago. Yeah, we saw it in the first game. Okay. You do still have things like the Talia available to you if you want to go for some kind of heavy roaming style, and I think that could be potentially fun to just get involved in these other lanes. Again, the bot lane has been kind of critical so far, but we've actually seen a lot less focus onto it in these more recent games than we had previously.
Especially this game, when you've got an Ezreal Bard, it's like, I'll just leave it. I have my scaling bot lane anyway. It's become less of a focus, especially with, as you talked about, the jungle being such a swingy part of the matchup. A lot of focus has been put instead on volatile solo lanes that can help the jungler, and it makes it so easy for the jungler to return that favor. Junhao certainly getting his this game, finding himself an MVP.
No surprises right here. Junhao picking himself up that MVP. He was disgusting on the dog right here. 10-1-7, and just a complete and utter nightmare for his opponents to deal with the entire way through. Really impressed with the way that he was able to play overall. And hey, if he's going to be able to keep it up in this next game, ThunderTalk may well be booking themselves a date alongside AL in the next round of the playoffs, round 2 of the playoffs, for a ThunderTalk team that we potentially didn't even know if they were going to win a series this split. Really, what a turnaround.
Yeah, ThunderTalk have been right on the edge of being eliminated this series. Coming into today, the team at a disadvantage, but they've managed to bring us all the way to Game 5, and you do not do that without a whole lot of heart and a lot of, hopefully, ability to actually close it out. I want to see that last game be close, because ThunderTalk have brought us all the way here. Let's close it out with a bang. We have got one more